ready to unlock your potential. Let's dive deep into some really cool ideas from Dr. Joe Dispenza and Jay Shetty about realistic goals, natural human potential, and how to take action and create change.
I find it really fascinating how Dr. Dispenza and Jay Shetty both sort of arrive at this idea of, consciously creating the life you want, even though they come from totally different backgrounds.
Yeah, it really does kind of point to this, like, universal human desire, don't you think?
Definitely. And Dr. Dispenza, he really gets right to the core of it. He's all about harnessing the power of our emotions, especially like practicing gratitude and love.
He even suggests that those feelings can, like, actually impact our physical reality.
Right. And that's where this idea of energy as information comes into play.
It's like every time we feel gratitude, it's almost like sending a signal out into the universe.
And according to Dr. Dispenza, the universe, it responds to that signal.
So it's not just about, like, feeling good, about aligning our energy with what we want to attract into our lives.
Yes.
That's so cool. It reminds me of something I read in the source material about people who went to Dr. Dispenza's workshops with their partners. And, like, some of the partners weren't really that open to these ideas.
Oh, interesting.
Apparently the energy between those couples was, like, super noticeable, and it even affected their experiences at the workshop.
Yeah, and that's a really important point. So often we get stuck in this cycle of trying to change things externally, working harder, earning more money, all that. But what if, like, the real change needs to happen inside first?
Right. So, like, instead of fighting to change the world around us, we should focus on aligning ourselves with this, like, field of infinite possibilities.
Exactly. It's all about tapping into that field through things like gratitude, meditation, visualization. And when we do that, Dr. Dispenza says that opportunities just start showing up in our lives effortlessly, almost like magic.
He calls that synchronicity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have you ever experienced anything like that where like the right people or situations just appear at the perfect time?
Actually, now that you mention it, there was this one time when...
And that's what's so mind-blowing about this whole field idea. It challenges everything we think we know about reality. In fact, Dr. Dispenza even suggests that the physical world that we see, it's actually a construct.
Wait, what?
He calls it a collective human dreamscape.
A collective human dreamscape.
Hold on, so you're saying, like, we're all collectively dreaming up this reality.
Think of it this way. If our thoughts and emotions have energy, and energy influences matter, then wouldn't it make sense that our collective thoughts and emotions are shaping the world around us? It's like we're all contributing to this massive illusion, whether we realize it or not.
So we're basically way more powerful than we think.
That's the idea, and it's pretty radical, right? If reality is actually more flexible than we've been told, then what kind of world do we want to create?
Okay, so this is all about conscious creation. Choosing our thoughts and emotions so that we can shape a reality that actually matches our desires. Exactly. And to really understand how this works on a, like, physiological level, we have to look at Dr. Dispenza's research on the heart-brain connection. He discovered that when our heart rhythm is coherent, balanced and in sync, it actually sends signals to the brain that can boost our creativity and help us manifest our dreams.
So it's not just about thinking positive thoughts, but also about creating genuine feelings of love and gratitude in our hearts.
Yeah.
Okay, but how does that actually work? Like, how does the heart communicate with the brain?
Well, this is where the science gets really interesting. Dr. Dispenza says that the heart, it generates an electromagnetic field.
An electromagnetic field, like a force field?
Well, not quite a force field, but kinda. It's like a carrier wave that extends beyond our physical bodies.
Hold on. Are you saying our hearts emit energy that can actually impact the world around us?
Yes. And he's not just making this up. His research backs it up. For example, in one study, he had participants focus on feeling gratitude for 3 days straight. And guess what?
What happened?
Their immune systems became 50% stronger.
Whoa, that's incredible. So if harnessing the power of our hearts can, like, boost our immune systems, imagine what it could do for our goals, our relationships, our whole lives.
It's like we have this hidden superpower within us, just waiting to be unleashed.
This is blowing my mind. I'm already starting to see how I can apply this to my own life. But I definitely want to dive deeper into those practical steps. How do we actually start aligning ourselves with this field?
Well, that's where Jay Shetty's insights come in. He brings in some wisdom from Deepak Chopra's book, The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success, which really complements Dr. Dispenza's work.
Oh, yeah. I remember reading about those laws. They're all about aligning with the field and creating a more fulfilling life. Like, The law of pure potentiality, law of intention. Wait, there were 7, right?
Absolutely. Let's explore those and see how they can help us create a more intentional and fulfilling life.
Okay, this is getting really exciting. I can't wait to learn more.
So those 7 laws, they really give us a framework for, aligning with that field and making our dreams a reality. And one that really stuck with me was the law of detachment. It's all about letting go of being fixated on specific outcomes and just trusting that the universe will bring us what's meant to be.
Ooh, that's a tough one. I mean, it's so easy to get attached to a particular outcome, especially when we're really passionate about something.
Right. But you see, that attachment, it actually creates resistance. It's like, trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. When we let go and surrender to the flow, that's when the magic happens.
It makes me think of Alexis Wren and how she's always shedding those limiting identities. Like, she went from ballerina to social media star to actress. It seems like she's always evolving, always open to new possibilities.
It's true. And she talks about how every experience, even the ones that end, they all shape who we become. She's like constantly shedding layers and revealing a more authentic version of herself.
She even refers to those painful experiences like going through public breakups as growing pains.
Right. And there's this incredible resilience about her. Like, no matter what, she keeps going, keeps growing. She trusts that the journey itself is valuable, even if the destination changes along the way.
It seems like she and Dr. Dispenza are both saying that we don't have to be trapped by our past roles or labels. We can constantly rewrite our story, create new possibilities as we evolve.
Exactly. And that evolution doesn't have to take forever. Dr. Dispenza, he actually says we can create a new reality pretty quickly if we're really dedicated to letting go of those limiting beliefs.
So, like, how do we actually shed those old stories and step into a new reality? What does that look like in real life?
It all starts with awareness, right? Both Dr. Dispenza and Alexis Wren, they talk about how important it is to face those limiting beliefs head on.
And Alexis really emphasizes how those beliefs can show up in our relationships, too. She even cautions against losing yourself in a role, whether it's as a partner, a parent, or even like a social media persona.
It's all about holding on to a strong sense of self, even within a relationship. And she believes that a healthy relationship should support both individuals in pursuing their passions and their purpose.
I love that analogy she uses about relationships being like mirrors, reflecting back to us who we are and where we're at.
That's such a powerful image, and it goes hand in hand with what Dr. Dispenza says about the quality of our relationships often mirroring our internal state. If we're like clinging to negativity or unresolved stuff, it's going to show up in how we interact with others.
So it's not just about finding the perfect partner or creating the perfect relationship. It's about working on ourselves to become the best version of ourselves.
Absolutely. You can't pour from an empty cup, right?
Right.
Taking care of ourselves, addressing those limiting beliefs, that's crucial for having healthy, fulfilling relationships.
And it seems like Alexis is like a master at using those challenging experiences, even the painful ones, as opportunities to learn and grow.
She's incredible at finding those golden nuggets in those experiences, turning them into fuel for her creativity and personal growth. She even says that her heartbreaks, they've helped her become more of who she truly is.
That actually reminds me of something Dr. Dispenza encourages. He says we should welcome those challenges in our life and see them as chances to break free from those limiting beliefs and step into a new reality.
Exactly. And both he and Alexis really emphasize the importance of trusting the process. Growth, it can be messy, uncomfortable even, but it's ultimately guiding us toward a more authentic and fulfilling life.
It sounds like they have this deep trust in the universe, this belief that everything happens for a reason, even when we can't see the reason in the moment.
Totally. It's about surrendering to the unknown, having faith that things will work out even if we don't know how.
That takes a lot of courage, especially for those of us who want to plan and control everything. It's about learning to dance with uncertainty, embracing the unknown as a space of infinite possibility.
And Alexis actually brings a little playfulness into navigating that uncertainty. She talks about wanting a sidekick in life, like those goofy comical characters you see in Disney movies.
Huh, I love that. Like, she's reminding us not to take ourselves too seriously, to find joy and lightness even amidst the chaos.
Exactly. And she even compares her passion for acting to playing with a ball, just doing it for the pure joy of it without any attachment to the outcome.
That kind of playfulness sounds incredibly liberating, especially when we're feeling stuck or overwhelmed.
Yeah.
It's like it allows us to tap back into our creativity and intuition, which can lead to those unexpected breakthroughs.
It's true. And she brings up another interesting point, about the importance of boredom. In a world that's constantly bombarding us with stimulation, boredom can actually be a catalyst for creativity and self-discovery.
She even says that the best things in her life happened when she wasn't actively chasing after them. It's like those moments of stillness gave her the space to connect with her inner voice and discover those hidden passions and desires.
That's such an important observation. When we let go of trying to control everything, when we surrender to the flow of life, that's when the universe can work its magic.
It's like saying, okay, universe, I trust you. Show me what's possible.
Right. But it's not just about sitting back and waiting for things to happen. Alexis also stresses how important it is to set intentions. She even talks about going into job interviews with the intention of making the director feel good, instead of just focusing on getting the part.
That's such a cool example of how changing our intention can totally shift the energy of an experience.
Absolutely. And it reminds us that the journey itself is just as important as the destination. The connections we make, the lessons we learn along the way, those are the real treasures.
So it's about embracing the present moment, finding joy in the process, and trusting that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. Which kind of brings us back to that question we posed earlier. If you could rewrite your story, knowing what you know now, what would your next chapter look like?
What's really inspiring about both Dr. Dispenza and Alexis Wren is their willingness to constantly evolve, to shed those limiting beliefs and identities and embrace new possibilities. It's a powerful reminder that it's never too late to rewrite our story.
It's about embracing that feeling of being unfinished. That sense of always becoming, always growing, always discovering new parts of ourselves.
Right, that sense of infinite possibility, that feeling that there's always more to explore, more to learn, more to experience. It reminds us to approach life with curiosity and wonder and a willingness to step outside of our comfort zone.
And speaking of stepping outside comfort zones, Jay Shetty talks about his own experience leaving behind a traditional career path to follow his passion for spirituality and personal growth.
He's incredibly open about the challenges he faced, too. The financial struggles, the doubts, the uncertainties that come with taking that leap of faith into the unknown.
But he also emphasizes those incredible rewards that he found by following his heart. That deep sense of purpose and fulfillment he discovered by aligning with his true calling.
And he makes it clear that this journey of self-discovery, it's not a solo mission. He credits his wife, Roddy, for her constant support, highlighting how important it is to have someone who believes in you and your dreams.
He even shares this really sweet story about how she helped him get settled into their new place in London while he was away filming in LA. It just shows that support doesn't always have to be some grand gesture. It can be those small, thoughtful acts of love that make all the difference.
And that brings us back to the core of this whole deep dive. The idea that we all have the power to create the life we desire. It's not about waiting for permission or the perfect moment. It's about taking control of our thoughts, our emotions, our actions, and aligning them with what we truly want.
It's about being brave enough to step outside our comfort zones, to embrace the unknown, and to trust that the universe has our back every step of the way.
It's about remembering that we are not defined by our past mistakes or limiting beliefs. We are powerful creators, capable of rewriting our story and stepping into a reality that reflects our highest potential.
So the question is, what does that look like for you? What story are you ready to tell?
That really is the big question, isn't it? What kind of story are we ready to tell with our lives? And both Dr. Dispenza and Jay Shetty, they both talk about how important self-awareness is. That's the starting point.
Right. They both emphasize understanding our patterns and our motivations and the stories that we tell ourselves.
Yeah.
Dr. Dispenza even suggests that a lot of us are actually living in a kind of virtual reality created by our past experiences.
He has this great analogy to explain it. He compares it to watching a movie. We can get so caught up in the drama and the characters, or we can step back and remember that, hey, we're the ones watching the movie.
So it's about detaching from those thoughts and emotions, seeing them as temporary things rather than, defining parts of who we are.
Exactly. And when we create that awareness, it gives us a choice. Once we realize that we're not our thoughts, we can choose which thoughts to, pay attention to and which ones to just let go of.
It's like we become the director of our own mental movie. But how do we actually do that? How do we shift from being on autopilot to actually consciously creating our reality?
Both Dr. Dispenza and Jay Shetty talk about the importance of intention. It's about aligning our energy with what we want and trusting the process.
Jay Shetty mentions that he used to think success was all about constant effort and striving. But through his own journey, he realized how powerful surrender can be, letting go of the need to control every little detail.
He even compares it to watching his dog play fetch. The dog just wants to enjoy the game, chase the ball, bring it back. There's no pressure, no struggle.
Yeah, it's just pure joy and presence. It's like a reminder to, approach life with that same kind of playfulness. Focus on the experience rather than obsessing over the outcome.
And trust that when we're living our purpose, the universe will support us. There's a really powerful verse from the Mani Smriti that Jay Shetty shares. It says, if you protect your purpose protects you.
That's beautiful. It's like when we're living in alignment with our true calling, we connect to this source of strength and guidance that's bigger than ourselves. But finding that purpose, I mean, that's a lifelong journey, right?
It is. It's not like something we just figure out overnight. It takes exploration, experimentation, being open to new things.
And often it means letting go of those limiting beliefs and identities that we've been holding on to for so long. Jay Shetty talks about how, his parents encouraged him to pursue a more traditional career, but he ended up finding his calling in a completely different field.
Right, he talks about how important it is to honor our own unique blueprint, even if it doesn't fit with, society's expectations or what our families want for us.
And that takes courage. It takes a willingness to step outside of our comfort zones and face those fears and trust that we can create a life that is authentically our own.
And it's never too late to start. I mean, look at Alexis Wren. She's only 24 and she's already on like her third or fourth reinvention. It just shows that we can always choose to rewrite our story, no matter how old we are or where we come from.
What's so inspiring about both Jay Shetty and Alexis Wren is their dedication to growth. They're constantly pushing themselves to evolve and learn and become more of who they are.
And they both talk about how important it is to enjoy the journey. It's not about reaching some far-off destination of success. It's about being present in each moment, finding beauty in the everyday things, and living a life that aligns with our values.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, we're left with this powerful invitation to rewrite our own stories, to let go of the limiting beliefs and identities that are holding us back, to embrace the unknown with courage and curiosity, and to trust that when we align with our purpose, the universe will support us in amazing ways.
What will your next chapter look like?